the love on Valentine's Day. Welcome into another Cash Out with the Coaches presented by Sports Pub. I am the coach. He is Travis Fulton, my partner, my nemesis. Why are you wearing a football helmet?
Hey, look at our can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you just fine. Yes.
Hey, look at our new helmet here. Check it out.
It's really cool that Sports Pub made that for us.
Cash Out with the Coaches. I know the football season's over with.
Yeah.
I know things didn't go your way.
Yep.
On Sunday, and I'm sorry. But the good news is we got our own helmet, baby. And it's the color of cash. Check it out. It's green.
Well, it's apropos that you'd be wearing it because a lot of guys in Phoenix on 17 were trying to avoid hitting people in the head and in the water to the left there as they try to stumble to victory. Brooks Koepka gets it done coming from 5 back. Before we look forward to the AT&T Pebble Beach, Travis, this week, and our guest this week, Arron Oberholser, who won the event in 2006, we quickly have to go back to last week. For the first 54 holes, it was as good as it could be. And you had Jordan Spieth, Xander Schauffele, a 3-shot lead tied at the top going into Sunday. And then it was perhaps the most uneventful, other than Brooks, day that you could possibly have at the Waste Management Phoenix Open. Did Xander and Jordan give it away, or did Brooks win it, in your opinion?
I mean, Xander gave it away. Look, he could have taken control of this tournament a couple different times. Mm-hmm. The wedge on 1 that Xander hit was it just didn't get things started correctly. You know, I mean, Jordan's way off to the right. He's sitting in the middle of the fairway, wipes one short right. You just don't see that very often out of tour players, that kind of shot. He did it a couple different times, hit the hook when he could have captured the tournament there to start the back 9, and he gave it away. He didn't play good. I think he was 2.5 shots over what the scoring average was, you know, for the day on Sunday. So when you're number 4 in the world now, right? Xander Schauffele, he's won 4 times. He hasn't won since 19. I don't want to say he's starting to enter that conversation of your boy, T. Finau, but, you know, look, he's got to put these away. The tournament was there for him to win. He left it open. I think we kind of expected Spieth to come back a little bit after just making everything as he did on Saturday and shooting 61. But Brooks walked in. Hey, 4 under, 5 under through the last 6. That's how you win golf tournaments.
I saw every single shot. I was doing PGA Tour Live last week. I saw every single shot of Xander for the first 3 days. I mean, every single one. And you could not have told me that on Sunday that he would even remotely shoot close to par. The way he's playing this golf course, it's a par 68. And if that would have happened, he would have won this golf tournament very easily. But he didn't. You're absolutely right. We're talking about Xander like he's winning consistently. No, he's consistently finishing high. He hasn't won, like you said, a year and a half. Jordan Spieth, now we're going on 3.5 years, almost 1,000 days. He had not been in a final group, Trav, since the final grouping of the 2018 Open Championship with Xander Schauffele. That's 2.5 years ago. To be in a final group? Are you kidding me? But he'll be back this week at AT&T Pebble Beach. So let's spin it forward to this week. This is a hard week to handicap.
Yeah.
Because there aren't a lot of top players that have decided to play for whatever the reason is. And I think this is an opportunity for a guy that we don't talk about a lot to sneak up and win this one this week.
Well, I mean, Nick Taylor won here last year. Ted Potter Jr. TPJ, baby, 2018. Vaughn Taylor, 2016. DA Points, 2000. I mean, these are some of the names, right, that you see on the leaderboard. Last week, the bigger names prevail, as Brooks did, as a Webb Simpson did, a Ricky Fowler. You see a little bit more of a variety here, and part of it's the field. DJ's out, we know. Matt Kuchar is out. So, you know, the favorite this week, of course, is going to be Patrick Cantlay. To your point, Spieth is in the field. It is a tough one to handicap. It's a little bit easier, though, Coach, because we only got the 2 courses. Usually we have 3. Yeah. We only have 2 this year. Pebble Beach, they'll play 3 times. Spyglass, the 1 time. No amateurs, 36-hole cut, and it's wide open. You know, I think you can kind of convince yourself a lot of different bets, as I did this week. And probably I found myself kind of going a little more to the ceiling. Okay, the potential, the ceiling, the projection of the player than I did maybe in weeks past. And I should have done it last week with Koepka, because Koepka was my pick the week before to win, because I was thinking, you know, this guy's going to be focused. You know the ceiling, you know it's coming. And sure enough, he walked through on Sunday. So we were a week late with Koepka. But real quick, when you look at Pebble Beach, okay, when you look at Pebble Beach, Coach, the kind of golf course that we're looking at, this is a short golf course. right?
Mhm.
It's actually going to be a little bit longer this year than years past. It's just over 7,000, but it's a short golf course. You're going to see a ton of approach wedges into these greens. If you hit the fairways, which are pretty easy to hit, they don't pinch them in, they're pretty wide. You got a lot of shots from 100 to 125 yards. So that strokes gain approach, you got to pay attention to that number. I do think strokes gain short game has more value this week. These are very small greens.
Mhm.
You've got to have some finesse around these greens, but you've got to factor that putting in with the POA too, right? Because there's that word, strokes gain putting, but in particularly with POA, that has a lot of value this week. So give me some strokes gain approach, and particularly that approach wedge with some experience with the POA. And then underneath that, I need someone that can get up and down a little bit. I think distance is kind of offset a little this week. Some of the forced layoffs because of the cliffs. Everybody's kind of
Oh,
getting at
yeah.
the same spot. So that's kind of how I'm looking at the model. And there's a lot of guys that some you may have heard of and some you may not have heard of with these picks.
I can tell you this: one of the benefits of doing PGA Tour Live is you get to see every shot. You really get to see how players are going. So my mindset when we get to our picks a little bit later in the show was guys that are hitting it really well, because when you're playing specifically in that early morning 9 to 9:30 time at Pebble Beach, it's cold, it's usually wet. Everybody talks like it's fabulous. It's not fabulous till like noon. You play in the morning, it's not a whole lot of fun. So that was my mindset. Because it's always like this at the event in February, because it's just a nasty time of year. So we'll get to our picks coming up a little bit later, but right now, so excited. We've got a winner of this event in 2006. And I got to tell you, this is a guy who grew up near Pebble Beach, grew up near the Monterey Peninsula, and this win means the world. Ladies and gentlemen, let's bring in right now Mr. Arron Oberholser. If there is anybody that knows how to win this week at Pebble Beach, it's our guest this week here on Cash Out with the Coaches, Mr. Arron Oberholser, who won here in 2006. Arron, how are you this week?
I'm good, Coach. How are you doing?
We're doing great, and we're trying to figure out how we're going to handicap a tournament where we don't know what the hell's going to happen. But there are no Pro-Ams this week. There are no Pro-Am partners. You won this event. You know how to have the right mindset. How much do you think, Arron, this tournament changes without the amateurs playing?
It can be very different, without a doubt. I think it's going to be obviously more like a PGA Tour event that the guys are used to playing week in and week out. And that could be good for certain guys. It could be bad for certain guys. I think if you're one of the guys that tends to get nervous potentially coming down the stretch or some anxiety, having an amateur partner there to kind of talk with and have fun with and keep you kind of calm and cool and just kind of out of your own head, if you will, throughout the week, that can be helpful. And if you have an amateur partner, and I've been on both sides of this coin, I've had the amateur partner that's really fun to play with, that keeps me calm and cool, and is great partner, great to talk to, picks up his ball when he needs to, when he's out of a hole. And then I've had the entertainer that's, out there shaking hands and kissing babies, and it can be somewhat distracting, depending on how you want to look at it. And I've had the CEO who's also wants to play out every hole, and even though he's making an 8, and that can be distracting as well. So a lot depends on your partner.
Hey, Arron, let me ask you this. We get into POA, like we hear that word POA, and it's like some guys like freak out, right?
Yeah.
And some are like, no big deal. I'm good at the POA. I mean, how real is it on the PGA Tour, Arron? Like, good putters, right? Like, cause I've got all the stats right here, and I'm looking at these guys, and some of them are just awful on POA, and they're pretty good putters. And there's some interesting names that pop up that are pretty good, POA putters, but maybe not so much on other surfaces. Why is it so difficult in putting POA greens?
The bounce. I mean, in all honesty, the ball bounces. I don't think that you're going POA. I grew up on POA from a young kid, learning the game to competing on it at the highest level. So I've seen it throughout my entire life, and I've seen it at its best. And I would say that Poana greens first thing in the morning at a place like Pebble Beach or Cypress Point or Spyglass Hill or any of those golf courses in the Monterey Peninsula, Pasatiempo, it's a gorgeous surface to putt on. And in all honesty, in my humble opinion, you're not going to find any difference between smooth POA, smooth bent, and smooth Bermuda. Quite honestly, it's a look, I think, to a certain extent. But smooth is smooth, quite honestly. What happens is when you get it tracked on with Bermuda and you get bent tracked on to a certain extent, those two grasses still roll fairly well. You get soft Poana on the seaside, now you start to get like real big depressions where guys were walking. You get, usually with this tournament, you have, double the feet because of the Pro-Am partners. So now you have even more traffic around the hole and it gets really bumpy. And you can see a 3 or 4 foot putt that, from guys hitting good putts from 3 or 4 feet that don't even sniff touching the hole.
Yeah.
And that can get in a guy's head if he's not used to seeing that happen. And he's used to, you hit sometimes you'll hit terrible putts on Poana and they'll go in. You'll start walking after it. Oh, I missed that by 6 inches left or right. And then all of a sudden it bounces and goes like this and goes in the hole. And other times you'll hit absolutely perfect putts that you think are going right in the heart, and it'll miss by a good inch or two on either side from 5, like I said, 4 to 6 feet. So it's a quirky grass that gets into a lot of guys' heads who haven't grown up on it. You have to be patient. I'm a huge fan of the Jack Nicklaus moniker, the way he putted throughout his career, which was basically maximum break, minimum speed. So play the most break with the least amount of speed, give that ball a chance to fall in the sides. And, you might get the right bounce. Some guys will say, oh, that's not the right way to putt POA because the slower you hit it, the more the bounce can take over. And I'm like, well, then you go ahead and roll the dice with those 3 and 4 footers coming back, buddy, because you're going to have a long day out there with a lot of stress if that's the case.
We're talking to the 2006 champion of the AT&T Pebble Beach Pro-Am, Arron Oberholser. This is such an iconic course, Arron, and a lot of people say when you go there for the first time, I didn't know what the heck I was doing. There's a lot of new players on the PGA Tour this year. If you're a new player, what do you think is the number one thing in your mind that they have to do this week at this event, at this golf course?
At Pebble Beach specifically, man, I'll tell you what, keep the ball below the hole on the greens. Really, the golf course is short. You're going to get a lot of opportunities. The fairways aren't super narrow, at least not the way they set it up for the AT&T versus, let's say, a U.S. Open, obviously. So you're going to get a lot of opportunities from short distance. You're going to have to control the flight and the spin of your golf ball onto these greens, onto these small greens. You're going to have to, sometimes the middle of the green is fine, from any distance. You're going to have a shorter putt. But I would say the best advice that I could give somebody is, yeah, you'd like to get it close, but and the analytics guys will tell me, Aaron, you want to get it as close as you possibly can. Well, okay, you know what? I've hit 17 greens at Pebble Beach before and shot 68 or 69. And you're thinking, gosh, that's the absolute highest score I can shoot. Well, if I go back around that round, that wasn't during the AT&T, it was during another event out there. But I go back throughout that round and I go, geez, I had 9 putts downhill left to right. You're not making a lot of those at Pebble Beach. So you got to be careful where you're attacking and to leave yourself putts as best you can when you can up the hill so that you can be aggressive.
Arron, you won in 2006. You won by 5 strokes, my man, that year over Rory Sabatini. You mentioned Spieth. He won it in 17. He won by 4 strokes, 19 under. He's been able to handle POA over the years. I saw your tweet about him, right? You kind of potentially taking him as a contender, but your concern was they eliminated Monterey and they kept Spyglass, which is the more difficult driving of the two. I mean, I think we all kind of enjoyed what we saw from Spieth last week. That was fun to see him do what he did on Saturday. So where are you at? Are we gonna take him this week, right? With Spyglass still in the rotation and that driver still being a little iffy, or what?
It's going to be tough for me to take him, quite honestly, and trust him. To Coach's question before, as far as new players, the other thing that I was going to say is new players who have never seen Spyglass. Spyglass Hill is kind of an X factor that no one really talks about because we've got the great granddaddy of them all in Pebble Beach right there. But Spyglass Hill was a golf course I grew up on playing a lot of amateur golf on in Northern California growing up there. We played a lot of big tournaments at Spyglass Hill, so I have a lot of rounds under my belt there. That golf course will beat you up so quickly and without hesitation. It will make you look so foolish if you're not hitting your golf ball extremely well around that place, and especially off the tee. It's hard enough to play that golf course from the fairway. It is really hard to play that golf course from the tree line and or the bunkers, which have fairly steep faces on all of them around there. It is a difficult golf course if you're not driving your golf ball well. It's a very difficult golf course if you're not driving your golf ball well. So if Jordan's going to go out there and he's going to hit 4 to 6 fairways, kind of when he was driving it poorly in the desert here last week, it's going to be even more difficult to score at Spyglass Hill. I don't think he'll have that hard a time at Pebble. Pebble's fairly wide open, and he knows his misses around there, and there's plenty of room to miss the ball off the tee at Pebble. But at Spyglass, there's just not as much room to miss the ball, and when you do miss the ball, it tends to be more penal when you miss the ball, and it can be penal on both sides of the fairway.
Real quick, before we let you go, last question. What's your favorite memory at Pebble Beach for you?
I think that for me, walking up the 18th hole, knowing that I had it in the bag with a 5-shot lead, it's just kind of surreal that I was able to win a golf tournament that on golf courses that I grew up playing. Amateur golf that I grew up playing since I was 16 years old. Not so much at Pebble, but at the time, Poppy Hills was in the rotation, and Spyglass obviously has always been in the rotation. And those were 2 golf courses that I cut my teeth on and learned how to play competitive golf on. And to be able to win a professional event and one as prestigious as the AT&T Pebble Beach, an hour and a half from where I grew up on golf courses that I grew up on was really cool. And kind of thinking about that, walking up 18. And having my mom there, having my best friend from college and high school there, watching me win, and then being able to go up that day, drive up to back to San Mateo and celebrate a birthday with a guy who was like one of my mentors as a kid. His birthday was that same day that I won. Was really special.
I tell you what, they can't take the name off the trophy, and they can't take the memories out of your head. And those are 2 things that'll live on forever. He is your 2006 champion of the AT&T Pebble Beach Pro-Am, and this year is just a pro. Arron Oberholser. Thank you, Arron, very much.
Thanks, Arron.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, man.
Thanks, Trav.
Boy, I tell you what, Trav, wouldn't it be cool for another young player this week to have the memories that Mr. Oberholser just described from 15 years ago?
Yeah. Horses for courses, right? He's played it a number of times. He's had the experience at a young age, and then to go out and get it done, walking up 18 at Pebble, reminiscing. Can you imagine?
No, I can't.
Giving me goosebumps right now just thinking about it.
I can. I love going to Pebble. I love everything about it. And a lot of these, but I did realize doing the event 2 years ago for PGA Tour Live, there's a lot of players like the John Rahms of the world. They will never play this event. They don't like this course. And once I went there in person in February, I got it. They don't like having a Pro-Am partner, and they don't like playing this course in February. That's why a lot of the top players don't show up. And that's just fact. That's just fact.
No, you're right.
Here we go. It's time to do our picks for the week. Here's how we do, and we want you at home to play along with us. We take $100. We do 5 different bets, 2 head-to-head matchups, top 20 pick, a tournament winner, and then a wild card play, which could be absolutely anything that you want. You got to spend at least $5 on every pick, and you can see if you can beat the coaches right here. All right, my friend, you're up first. What's your first head-to-head matchup this week?
Well, let's go with Doug, the Gim Reaper, $25, minus 120 over Scott Stallings. And a lot of you are probably thinking, Travis, Scott back in 2019, Stallings was 3rd. In 2018, he was 7th. And this is the first, and Doug Gim hasn't made the cut yet, right? He's played here a couple times as an amateur. But I think this is a pick for me that I've been watching Doug Gim for a long time. And I think he's making the transition now to the pro game. He's a completely different player coming into this tournament this time. And you look at his stats now, Coach. First full season on the PGA Tour. This kid can go. I mean, strokes gain approach, he's 25th. Around the green, he's 54th. Putting, he's 55th. He's in the top third here of three major categories on the PGA Tour. Strokes gain total, he's 31st. He struggles a little bit off the tee. Not bad, but I like him outside of that in every other statistical category. Pretty good from 100 to 125. I talked about that distance. He's pretty good there, and he's better than Stallings when it comes to those distances as well. Stallings a three-time winner. I don't like his form right now in the way that he's playing coming in. You look at Gim, he's got some good form going. I think he's building some confidence. He belongs out there on the PGA Tour. I think this is a good venue for him. I think he'll perform well and beat Scotty Stallings.
Yeah, he played pretty well at the American Express Championship. Up until Sunday, he was right there in that top 5 to 8 range. So he's certainly a guy that is trending. So I don't actually hate that pick. I really, really don't.
Good.
All right,
Good.
my first head-to-head matchup looks a little something like this. And I'm going with a guy who is as close to an automatic pick at Pebble Beach as you're going to get. 5 straight top 20s, 3 straight top 10s. If you ask anybody walking on the street, who's the one guy that has 3 straight top 10s and 5 straight top 20s at this event, they would be there all day because nobody would guess Kevin Streelman. So see, woo, Kim. He stalled last week. He's been playing too much lately. So Kevin Streelman walks it probably by Friday over Siwoo Kim, and all you're laying is 10 cents on the juice line.
That's a good pick. Streelman, you talked about big name players not liking Pebble Beach. Streelman's not one of them.
No,
not a big name either, but he loves him some Pebble Beach.
I still think he has the best finish on tour in the history of as far as how he did it. 7 straight birdies to win the Travelers. I still think that's better than Spieth chipping in overtime. Or
yeah.
All right, your second head-to-head matchup. Who do you got?
You know, this is a tough one for me. I went back and forth, as our producer knows. I texted him like 7 different times with 7 different answers. But I decided
just this matchup, though.
on just this matchup alone because I wanted to talk about these two. Paul Casey, -1/5 over my boy, Will Zalatoris. You know how much I love Will. You know how much I love Will.
You love him. He killed me last week.
And Will made me some money last week in my head-to-head matchup.
Yeah, he did.
But I'm going to sit him down this week over Paul Casey. You know, Paul is playing some really good golf right now. You may have heard he won the European Tour event just a couple weeks ago. He comes back over to a venue that he likes. You know, I just did a lot of head-to-head comparisons of these two. Of course, Paul is a much more of an experienced player than Will. Look at the last 24 rounds, okay, on the PGA Tour. And this doesn't count Paul's win. But you look at strokes gained off the tee, you know, Will is probably the better driver of the golf ball, which is a big statement, you know, because Paul's pretty good. Strokes gained approach. Will statistically is better. I mean, Will is an excellent ball striker from tee to green. Strokes gained around the green. Zalatoris probably gets a slight edge there as well, but you look deeper, Coach. That's what I do. I go a little bit deeper into the stats, and you go to that strokes gained approach. And where does Casey really excel? What does he do? The wedges, man. The dude is so good with the approach wedges, one of the best in the world. And that has value here. This is where you just hit the ball down the middle. Give me the wedge. What's the number? What is it? 111? Oh, perfect. 111. Paul Casey knows where 111 is. I'm not sure if Will knows yet. Will struggles a little bit. You look at him, his weakness, not a great putter, but he's a little clunky with the approach wedges. Okay, so I don't think this is the best spot for him. I'm going to go with Casey. He was 8th at the American Express. He was 2nd here in 2019, T8 2018. He knows how to play this course, and he's playing well. He's going to wear you out with the approach wedges this week.
Well, I know he finished 2nd here a couple of years ago because me and your boy, Billy Kratzer, were on site working together for that tournament. I feel like when you dig into the weeds right now, you're living in 2019. I've got 2 words for you right now when it comes to this pick. Jet lag. Your boy Paul Casey played overseas 2 weeks in a row.
No.
Won in Dubai last week. Where was he at on the leaderboard? He was nowhere because of jet lag. Now, he had to take a COVID test in Saudi Arabia, then get on a plane, then fly to California, then quarantine, and now has to get ready with about a day and a half to get out on the course. So he may be up there on Thursday, maybe on Friday. The only shot you have of winning this bet is if Will Zalatoris does not make it to the weekend.
Hey, let me tell you something. These guys aren't sitting in 37F. Okay. They're not sitting in 37F.
I didn't say about the body. I'm talking about the jet lag up here.
They're sleeping. He's sleeping. Shipping on. They're sitting.
You've been there?
No, they're sleeping. They're laid down.
One of the two of us is a world traveler. One of the two of us has been all over, especially in the desert. Jet lag is real, Trav. It's real.
No.
Hey, it'll play out. It'll play out, and we'll have our answer.
See, you're in 37F, and you're looking up. You're looking at the back of my head. I'm up there in comfort. I'm up there in comfort. Yeah. Right, yeah. 13A. I get my leg room, and then I'm looking at Paul Casey. I'm looking at Paul. I can't even see Paul Casey.
Only you would brag about comfort and not first class. I'm a Delta Comfort. That's not first class. You brag about Delta Comfort. Oh my God! The first person in history right now. There's Delta flight attendants all in a row going, yeah, Delta Comfort, man, yeah, Delta.
It's where we're at, baby. I love it.
Oh my God! All right, here we go. Up next, we're gonna go with my head-to-head. Patrick Cantlay over Daniel Berger. Daniel Berger developed last week, and I watched him for the first 3 days as well. Every shot, he's developed this wiping motion that is not good. So his ball not is just fading, but it's doing like the banana. He doesn't know where his ball is going. Patrick Cantlay is rested. The last time we saw him on the PGA Tour, he was shooting a 61 in the desert to lose by 1 to see Woo Woo Kim. And so all I got to do is get 45 cents. I'm taking this one all the way to the pay window. Patrick Cantlay all day over Daniel Berger.
Yeah, biggest disappointment last week in the field was Daniel Berger. There's no doubt about that. He struggled. I think he played the last 6 1 over and missed the cut.
He did. He missed the cut because it came in last minute. It came in at 3 under par. A lot of guys were stuck on 2, including Daniel Berger.
Well, he's my top 20 pick, so that was, I lived that. Took it hard, as you can see.
Oh, I know you did. I'm telling you, when you see that wipe that he's got going, he better fix that, or you've got no shot, or he has no shot this week. Okay, here we go. Up next, we're gonna with our top 20 pick this week. Who do you like, Trav?
Yeah, I'm feeling good here. I feel good about these picks. I feel like we're taking it to the next level here as golf kind of gets going. And top 20, Sam Burns. If you don't know who Sam Burns is on the PGA Tour, you're going to find out here this year. It's coming. His name is going to continue to rise up the leaderboard, and he's going to get a win. I think he'll get a win in 2021. I thought about taking him for a win this week, but I didn't. You know who Sam Burns' coach is?
Who's that?
Brad Pullen.
Really?
Yeah. Brad Pullen is his coach, right? That's what I'm saying. You got a whole new team now coming up.
Okay.
Sam Burns, Brad Pullen done a good job out there in Louisiana. He's from Shreveport. And, he's that modern day player now. He can really bomb it off the tee. He's fun to watch hit the golf ball.
He is.
I mean, he leaves nothing behind. Let me tell you, he rips it long and he's pretty damn accurate too. Really good driver of the ball. Strokes off the tee. He's 9th. His approach game is good. 61st. He's got good approach wedge skills. He's 15th right now on tour. I about fell off my chair when I saw the 15th rank number from 50 to 125 yards. So the big guy can throw it in there with the wedges, which we know is key this week. Struggles around the greens. I think he struggles kind of with the getting the bounce to slide a little and kind of throwing that little spinner up there. He's kind of that, compressor. He likes to lean the shaft and compress it. I think he struggles with the finesse around the green. So that's a little troublesome with some of these smaller greens. But I can see him getting it going, busting it down the middle, wedging it up, and letting his putter go to work. Strokes gained putting on tour, 27th. Got the long game, and he can putt, approach wedge game, top 20. You could convince me on a win ticket as well.
All right, you actually did all my work for me, and I'm going to explain that in about 90 seconds. But my top 20 pick this week is HENRIK Norlander. Here's a dude who showed up for one shot at Torrey Pines and had a top 20 finish. And I'm not so sure the announcers, and I work for CBS, knew who he was that particular day. And he was within 5-6 shots of the lead. This dude is starting to hit it great. His numbers are great. And he's not ready to win yet on the PGA Tour, but he's damn sure got his name up there every single week. So all he's got to do is get inside the top 20 without Dustin, without Rory, without Bryson, I'll take HENRIK Norlander plus money, plus 190. I'll take that all day to the pay window.
It's flipping a coin with Henrik, man.
I know.
It can be feast or famine. 4 straight missed cuts, then he goes 12th in a second. It's
How
like,
about that?
that's what he does. Like he'll go earlier or last year towards the end, 3 missed cuts, then he goes 4th at Sanderson. I mean, that's all of a sudden he just pops up. So you catch him right, that's good money.
I am not betting against him ever again because every time I've done it, he pops a 66 right in my eye. All right, let's get into our who do we think is going to win this week? Who's going to be hoisting the trophy for you, Trav, this week at Pebble Beach?
Well, who can handle POA, right? Who can really finesse it in there? Soft hands, wedges, dead hands, arms, beautiful putting stroke. Oh, Jason Day. That's the guy that comes to mind. And he knows a thing or two about this golf course. How about his last 5 finishes here? 4th, T4, T2, T5, T11. Okay. So not too shabby from Jason Day. And this field is much weaker than those fields in the last 5 years. I think Jason, when you look at him, he looks good. And I think he feels good. I think his body's is finally 100% again. He switched teachers to Chris Como. They've been working on some things. You look at ball striking stats, not bad. I think he's starting to kind of come out now a little bit on the other side of some of the things that they've been doing. Putted horrifically last week. That wasn't even Jason Day at the Waste Management. It wasn't. I don't know who that was, but it wasn't Jason Day on the greens losing 5.2. You just don't see that from him ever. So it's going back to a place he knows how to putt here. It's wide open this year. I'm betting a little bit more on the ceiling coach here with this field. Yep. Jason Day, let's come in. Let's get the wedges and putters going hot. He's done it before. We just need to bump up a few more spots, maybe get a break or two, and we cash out a big one.
As much as I would like to tease you about that pick, Jason Day is one of those 5 or 6 guys that on any given week can go out and win. You say, okay, that's the Jason Day I remember from 2015 or 2016. So this could be one of those weeks. Absolutely, that could happen. But I like picking somebody in that plus 3,000 to plus 4,000 range to really get some value on a week that we don't know what the hell's going to happen. So that's what I did with mine. I said you did my work for me. If I don't like your top 20 pick, then damn it, I damn sure can't like my winning pick because I got Sam Burns to win this week plus 4,500. And here's why I think he can do it. At some point, the light switch is going to flip on because it seems like every single week. He's coming out Thursday shooting 4 under, and then he'll shoot 3 or 4 under on Friday. And then all of a sudden, he's right there in that top 15 going into the weekend. Now we saw it at the beginning of the year. We saw it last week. He has that one round, either Saturday or Sunday, where he realizes, oh crap, I'm in this thing. I can really win this. I don't think he believes yet that he's good enough to beat an entire field over the course of 4 days. But I want to be there, and I want to pick him when it does click in. So this week, without the big boys there, I'm taking Sam Burns plus 4,500. That's 45 to 1. If you bet $100, you'll win $4,500 on the winning team.
I like it. I like Sam Burns. Like I said, I was thinking about taking him to win. You think of a young guy, like you said, does he believe yet? Sam Burns plays well in the final group with a Dustin Johnson. If he was in the field, I'm not sure I like that. Sam Burns with a Patrick Cantlay, sign me up.
A little bit different. A little bit different.
Yeah.
Okay, finally, our wild card. It can be anything on the board. What are you looking at, Travis? You broke down every single bet that your book had to offer.
It's almost spring. It's almost spring break, baby. It's almost spring break. I'm going back to the well.
It's not TPC Sawgrass. Come
with
on.
Rickie Fowler, top 20, just like last week. It was fun last week watching him lose 4 strokes, using that stupid putter that he's using again. Won't give it up and go back to his game. But I look at it this way, Coach. In spring break, like they've got their little spring break crew, right? JT, he's playing good. He's got 13 wins. He's cruising. JT's cruising, right? And now, wait a minute. Now, Jordan shows up from, I don't know where's he been? And he's in the hunt, right? He's got tied for the league going into Sunday. Smiley Kaufman, part of the spring break crew. He won the member guest, I think, a couple of weeks ago.
I was going to say, wait for the course.
And so that just leaves your boy Rickie, right? Everybody's playing good except Rickie. And Rickie switched coaches, and you look at him, and you're like, okay, his ball striking's not holding him back. Like, he's fine. go back to your gamer. Damn it. Go back to your gamer, right? And just commit to that. And let's get some mojo going with that putter. I think Rickie's on the right. I think he's like starting to do some good things in the ball striking, but my goodness, his putter has been atrocious. So I'm going ceiling it here again a little bit, catch fire. Poana, maybe it'll kick it back online and it'll go in and give him some confidence.
I think a couple of different things when I see this pick. The first one is thank you, Travis. Thank you for donating to the cause. My second one is most people didn't understand this. They didn't even see it. But I'm going to point something out that is very alarming to me.
Okay.
That I believe is the biggest reason Rickie is struggling right now. That entire party crew that you're talking about, Jordan recently got married in the last year and a half. Rickie got engaged in the last year. JT, very serious with this girl. Smiley Cobbin, the same deal. But now Rickie's taking that to the next level. Remember the relationship before that TPC Sawgrass making out on after he won. We were all very uncomfortable, right? And we were saying at the time, Rickie, you can't let a girl get in the way. So now, did you notice on the little putt-putt commercial that Rickie putted through the house during the Waste Management Open? Who was the person who handed him the golf ball to play against the guy in the commercial?
I don't know.
The fiance. He's putting the fiance in his commercials. That's a kiss of death. If you want to put that professionally ahead of performing, you've got no shot, Trav. You can't put her in the commercials. You can't do it. But if she says, hey, Rickie, come on. We're partners now. We're in it. You think he's going to tell her no? No, he's not going to tell her no. I wouldn't tell her no either. But I'm on the outside looking in. So I just got to give my honest analysis. And until he puts that situation in check, you've got to be able to balance both home life and performing on the PGA Tour. Now, I say a lot of that in jest, and I'm joking a lot, but you talk to anybody who starts having kids and then still tries to play on the PGA Tour, it's a hard thing. He hasn't have kids yet, but you understand what I'm saying. Whenever something significant changes in your life, it's hard to really focus on the task at hand. He's got to remember why he's making $20 million plus off the course. He's got to remember what brought him to the dance. And that is being a great golfer, not all the other stuff. But that's neither here nor there. Thank you very much. All right, finally, pick of the week. I'm going back to the well. Kevin Streelman. You give me a player who's had 5 straight top 20s, and you're going to give me plus 300. I'm telling you, he's got to prove to me that he's not going to do a top 26 6 years in a row. 3 straight top 10s. So this was an easy pick for me, plus 300. I'm good with it. I got Kevin Streelman, Trav.
I think Streelman's married.
Yeah, but he's also in his 40s now. He's not 30. He's not 31. This is new to Rickie.
Hey, I'm 40. I'm 43 and I'm married, and my golf game's gone to nothing. What does that mean?
All right, as we wrap things up, final thoughts. What do you expect to see this week at Pebble Beach?
Well, I expect Rickie Fowler to get off to a quick start and make some birdies, make the cut, top 20. And I expect, look, Pebble Beach, if it's calm, right, and there's no wind, these boys are going to go really, really low, because the only defense this place has is Mother Nature. It's got small greens. And as Arron said, beautifully said, you got to, the slope around the greens, and keeping the ball underneath it. So, but if it's perfect conditions and soft, these guys are going to tear it up. We're going to be into the 20s for sure as the winning number. Well, and the mindset has to be, I've got to get off to a quick start, because you don't have 54 holes anymore to make the cut going in. That's right. It's a 36-hole cut. That's way different on the PGA Tour. All right. We have given you all of your marching orders. We have given you all of your picks. Hopefully you can play along with us. For Travis Fulton, for Cody Merrow, our incredible producer, and our partners at Sports Pub, I am the coach, and remember, this is the only place every single week that you too can cash out with the coaches. Good luck.